Welcome in, everybody, to Sunday Sports with Greg and Jack. What is going on, everybody?
Welcome. Glad to have you guys back once again.
Feels good. Every Sunday, right? We kind of go over what is going on. We had a big sports day yesterday.
Yes.
Huge day. It was the Kentucky Derby. And the winner ended up being Mystic Dan. That was an 18-1. So for all of you Mystics out there, you cashed your tickets. Greg,
what was it? 15-1? 15-1, you said? It was 15-1. Oh, 18-1. That's nice. What was that? Was that what was that? Like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where like the biggest odd horse ended up winning? What was it, like 80-1 or something like that?
Yeah, and I want to tell you something I forget the horse's name, but just real quick, the up until that point, the best Brisnet score that ever won a Derby. The Brisnet score is just a cumulative of competition and speed and all that other stuff that your horse.
What's that called again? Because I never heard of it.
It's called a Brisnet score. So it's a cumulative score that your speed goes into, and it's kind of like an average, right? Your speed, your competition, all this stuff kind of goes into this thing, and you get a score. And the best score that ever won a Derby at that point was like 96. Okay, 96. That's fine. But I mean, that horse's best score, I think, was something crazy like 82. So basically what you could do is you could just shuffle them along the side. Yeah, you're an 81 and you have no chance. You never put up a high score ever. I think his high score was like a 94. Anyway, he won the Derby, and to this day I still don't think that horse was clean. But because you just don't get there, right? It's when these Olympians show up and you're like, hey, the fastest time he or she's ever run is like 11 minutes, and all of a sudden they're in like the 9.5s, and you're like, well, you don't run that. That's not your average. And it's not to say you can't get down to that, but you get my point. It's just Mystic Dan was a good horse.
Gotcha.
The best horse, I don't know. I still think, in my heart, I think Sierra Leone was the best horse, just broke late. It really impressed the way I thought it would down the stretch. Mystic Dan just had a little bit extra. The favorite, Fierceness, did exactly what I thought that horse would do. I thought it would break out early. It did. I thought it would last a little bit longer. Fierceness, there was a couple of races I watched in other derbies that horse was in, and towards the end, his tongue started sticking out.
Okay.
And he started losing a little bit of gas, and he went from first to second, and he fought for his spot back, but he had nothing else left and slipped to third and finished third. And I thought, wow, you're the first horse that I've ever seen, because they always talk about, can they go the distance? Well, this was the first horse I sat there and my eyes popped out when I was watching it, on YouTube, because that's where all the races are now. My eyes popped right out my head, and I go, oh my God, this might be the first horse definitively that can't go the distance.
Oh, wow.
And he jumped out quick. He got to a lead, and he faded real quick. The field caught right up to him and ate him up.
Okay.
And he finished 15th. I mean, it was for a favorite or a second favorite, it's not a good ticket to have in your hand.
No, it's not. I'm not the biggest horse betting person in the world. That's why the questions I have, probably the common person would ask them too. So it's good to get some inside knowledge on that.
No, it's great questions, because it's a fun event. That's really what it is, right? It's not, it's sports. It's a fun event.
What is the so people that's really not into horse racing and derby stuff? What is it? The trifecta?
So it's you can bet a trifecta, but this is
I mean the main races. Is that what it is? You got the Derby, you got two others, correct? The Derby.
Yeah, so it's the race for the Triple Crown.
Yeah, that's okay. The Triple Crown. Okay.
And you start with the Kentucky Derby, and then you go to the Preakness.
Okay.
And then you go to the Belmont Stakes.
Okay, that's it.
And Belmont what's interesting, the reason why it's a Triple Crown is because the Kentucky Derby is the first time all these qualifying horses have all been in the same ring. I mean, each of them have seen each other throughout the qualifiers, but not all at the same time.
Okay.
And then what happens is you go to the Preakness, and it's a smaller field. Obviously, you'll have the horse that's chasing the Triple Crown in there, and maybe a couple others that thought that they should have gotten a better run in the Derby. And then the Belmont Stakes is the longest. And the reason why it's almost the toughest is it's kind of like the Kentucky Derby again, but it's longer race. And you're like, so not only has this horse used everything it has, it needs more in this last race, which is why the Triple Crown is so special.
Yeah, and I just hurried up and searched this real quick, but the last one to win a Triple Crown was Justify 2018, and it was the last one in 136 years, correct? 1882. Oh wait,
Yeah,
as a 2-year-old, without racing as a 2-year-old. So there's stipulations here. So what 2018 was the last one, correct? Before that was they made a movie of it, right? Secretariat or something like that.
Well, there was Secretary, and then there was American Pharoah did pretty well.
Okay, all right.
American Pharoah had a Triple Crown, and that was a really good horse. But and Justify is the reason why I picked Just a Touch to hit my trifecta this year, and Just a Touch finished dead last.
Dead last, got you.
I mean, well, you only go with the information you have, right?
Hey, listen, that's all you can do. Yeah,
Just a Touch was getting better. He was becoming a real Derby racehorse. His Brisnet scores were getting better. And when they were 5 wide, he was like, I'm out of here. He just fell back because he was uncomfortable.
Okay.
Dad would have crushed you, but the kids are, not so much the makeup all the time.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we learned a little bit about the Derby. Did it lead up to your expectations, the Kentucky Derby?
Oh, I mean, it was the closest. I believe it was the closest finish since 1947.
Oh, wow.
So Mystic Dan, by a nose, he literally won by a nose.
Mm-hmm.
His head went down, crossed, and then he was not in the lead anymore, but it crossed. Mystic Dan won. Sierra Leone stalked just as I thought he would. He just didn't have the last. He needed maybe 2 more gallops. That's how close it was.
Okay. Oh, wow.
But he came out like Greg, like an animal. You were like, what is that? Oh, I know who that horse is. You could just see him.
And he just couldn't sustain.
Yeah, he just didn't have the last 2 gallops.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that's awesome for everybody that loves the derbies. I know back when I was in the restaurant industry, we all got into the derbies a lot. We would all just draw a couple names from a hat, and you would have those horses. It was just a little fun thing we did to kind of keep the day interesting. But besides
all of our tips,
yeah. All the tips on whatever horse.
That's right.
Hey, you got to do something.
That's right. It's a big lead up. You're sitting there trying to make all your money, and you're putting in your bets and finding your guys.
It's one of those things. I feel it's a lot more fun with a group of people.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, unless you're like 85 and you're that lone guy smoking a cigar, waiting for your horses to come around.
And that's the thing. What are they called? The fedoras that you have. Yeah. The guy's cigar, he just stinks to the high heaven of cigarette smoke, cigar smoke, and he's like, "Listen, I got a tip for you, son."
Listen to that guy. Listen to that guy. When a guy comes up to you, listen. We were at the Florida Derby just last month, my wife and I, and I'm telling you. If a guy ever comes up to you and he grabs you by the arm aggressively and he starts talking about hoof sizes, you listen, young man.
And
sometimes you just don't have the last 2 gallops. I know. You're right.
It happens.
Jeff Nick's telling me. No, I know. Sierra Leone. I mean, he came on like a nightmare that you couldn't get out of. But he just
is that horse known for not having the stamina, or?
So Fierceness is known for not having the stamina. Sierra Leone was the most expensive horse in the race.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he's a real, like, he's got all the stuff that you want. He's just not interested in the race until the end. Like, he's just, Greg, he's just like in 7th and 8th and 6th and 5th. And then, like, it's almost like he can hear the announcer, and they're coming down the stretch. He's like, oh, God, all right, there's a race.
And that's when he kicks it.
And then he's gone. They call him a stalker, but, like, he could probably lead if he cared.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, well, I'll catch him at the end. I end up in first. I'm just the best horse. And like I'm telling you, he just didn't have enough.
And you think that's the horse problem, or you think that's a jockey problem?
It could go either way. Last year, the best
Well,
horse.
what's your opinion?
This year, I just thought that Mystic Dan did such a great job stealing seconds on the rail. In fact, his jockey said that he was so close to the rail at one point that his boot touched it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he was really like hugging that rail to steal seconds off of all the other horses.
And by hugging the rail, you mean taking the inside, correct?
I mean, yeah, he was so far inside that he was stealing probably milliseconds off of everybody else that was trying to come out wide. Last year was the jockey's fault. The jockey broke the horse too late. The horse was fantastic. I believe he finished second, but it was not by a nose. It was, man, you needed like half a lap and you broke the horse too late. So it could go really either way.
Okay. All right.
Could go either way.
Right. Well, a little bit of Derby news and recap. I think we learned a little bit. You have anything else to tell us on that front?
Just one last thing. I think it's important to cash a winning ticket. So if you thought Sierra Leone was a good horse, you didn't need to put him to win. You could have put him to show, and that covers win, place, and show. So if you cash in a winning ticket, you might have only made 30 cents because he was a high favorite, but it feels good at the end.
Now, what's the bet that you can pick like 3 horses? They all have to finish. What is it?
That's the trifecta.
And they could finish anywhere in the top 5?
Well, no, that's they could finish anywhere in the top 3.
Top 3. Okay.
So the term try applies. And then what you need to do, and I always tell people to do this, you want to trifecta box it so that they could finish in any order. You don't want to be sitting there going, oh, man, what if you had Sierra Leone to win and he took second by that nose and you had him in the trifecta with these 2 other horses? You lose. Spend a couple extra bucks, box your lottery tickets. You guys know.
Gotcha. All right. Kind of like instead of running the line on games, you're running the money line on the games.
Right. And that's a great way to put it. Yep.
All right. Well, for some of the non-gambling people, I like to let them know a little bit about what we're talking about when it comes to the not the gambling, the betting portion of the podcast.
We like everybody
because we don't gamble here, right? We don't gamble here. We bet here. Even though last week some of us lost our house last week, but it was a bet last week. We had good reason behind the bet.
It was a good bet. I made another bad bet this week.
Oh yeah, tell us about Jack's bad beats.
There's a bad beat. It is. I bet my house. I didn't lose my house, but I've got a lot of houses. I took the 76ers over the Knicks. I thought they were going to get back to New York for Game 7. I was a little bit of a believer that Philly did at certain points. Philly was going to get calls. The NBA kind of wanted a Game 7 here. New York wins it. Whatever. And at the end, they just didn't hit shots. I mean, they were up at halftime. They were up at the end of the third quarter. And I was like, all right, well, extend the lead a little bit here. And New York just kept coming, and New York ended up beating them. But I don't think that's it's not a gamble, and it's not really a bad bet because Philly led the whole game. I bet the correct way, but sometimes when money's on the line, it doesn't end up in your favor. It's just true.
Yeah, it happens.
You could sit there and go, well, I made the right bet. Well, it didn't work out. Whatever instant, you got ahead of the traffic, but then there's a car accident. Well, you did everything right. You can't be mad at yourself, and you got to live with the results.
It's like when you go all in, you get all your money in the pot on Texas Hold'em. When you have the best hand, you're all in. Not so, you get rivered or something like that. It happens. You made the right decision when it counted. It's not your fault that something happened in the future where you lost the bet.
Rick and Riverd's the worst.
It's the worst. It really is. You're good all the way up until that last card, and that prick just gets so lucky. It's the only way to describe it. The prick gets lucky.
Dude, I rivered with my worst river ever was I was battling. I was up at Mohegan Sun where you guys are at, and I was battling the whole time, making right bets, not getting into battles with people. And I got down to like final 6. And I needed to make a move, and it was great. I got pocket kings. So I call it slow playing it, right? Pocket kings, I'm just slow playing. I'm acting like I got nothing, but I got something.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy to my left also did the same thing I did. I had him be pocket queens. And this guy held 2-5 the whole time. Like, he's just one of those vigilante players that'll play hands and drive you crazy, right?
Yeah.
He finds somehow to make money off fake Rolexes. That's what this guy does with his life. And he caught us straight on the river. And I went, all right, man. I hope you win, because that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that happens. I mean, my worst beat ever, same thing, pocket kings. I was at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, though. And I was going against a Russian guy that had bricks of money in front of him. Yeah, I have $400 in front of me, so that ain't going to go very far with a guy like that. Pocket kings, pre-flop, I'm aggressive. Turn, I'm aggressive. River comes up, it's an ace. I'm like, fuck. Yeah, I know what's happening. And at this point, I have like $50 more in front of me. I already have $350 in the pot. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I put it all in. I put the last 50. He calls. What does he have? Ace 9. Ace 9 offsuit. He's calling me throughout the whole thing. $350 in the pot. He's calling me all the way with an ace 9 offsuit. Unreal. My worst beat ever. I still talk about it, and this was probably 30 years ago it happened. Not
that
really
guy's
30,
insane.
but pretty long. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those Russians are insane. You can't read them. You have no idea.
Actually, you read him perfectly. He was wrong.
All the way right to the end. Yeah. 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 So,
all right. We want to talk about the NBA a little bit.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We have last night, anyways, right? We had Knicks and Timberwolves last night.
The Wolves and the Nuggets.
That's it. Wolves and Nuggets. What was that? It was Knicks and 76ers the day before.
Yeah, and today we've got Cavs and Magic. Here's what's interesting about the Cavs and the Magic. The series is tied 3-3. This is game 7 today. The series was also tied in the regular season 2-2.
Oh, wow.
If you want to talk about evenly matched teams and you're going to find a fantastic game on television today, it's the Magic and the Cavs. They are as even a 4 and 5 seed as you're ever going to find.
And they're a up and coming team too. They're both a young team, both that are going to get better year in, year out. So this is just the start of both of those teams.
I'm really excited about NBA youth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
There's a lot of it. There is a lot of it, and it feels like we've been waiting a while.
Mm-hmm. Like, we've been hanging our heads on the LeBron Jameses. We've been hanging our heads on, the Kevin Durant and the Steph Curry, and Chris Paul's on his 10th team, and all these other. We've been on these old guys, waiting for some young guy to come up and take it.
And we all thought it was John Morant at one point until he went off the rails, and
Yeah, and then we wanted Zion, and he's had injuries, and we've been just begging and clamoring for some guy to come up and kind of draw us to a TV. And I kind of believe if Paolo Banchero can play for Orlando, 100%. That guy is gonna be a star. He's very young, out of Duke University. I've actually talked to a few people that have met him. They said he signs for kids. He's fantastic for the game. Anthony Edwards is also Ant-Man is coming.
Yeah, he's that next up and coming guy. There's Jokic, who Luka, right? For Denver, who are right, not Denver.
Dallas. You got Denver and Dallas.
Yeah, Denver and Dallas. You got those guys. You have Morant that we're climbing for. Edwards. God, you got so many young guys up and coming that are just that are going to be fighting for the face of the NBA, I believe.
Edwards is starting to figure it out, though. Edwards is starting to know. I really, in my heart of hearts, you can see
And
it.
he's in his what, 4th year?
I believe so. And he's really, if you're gonna place a bet on a guy for MVP next season, that's your guy.
Mhm.
That's your guy because I don't know if the Wolves have enough this year. I actually think Denver can go back to back.
Okay. I think
Or
it really could.
Or it could be Denver and Boston gets them finally. I don't know if Boston's going to be able to show us that they're finally grown.
Mhm.
That's the real problem with them. But the T-Wolves, right? The Timberwolves are coming.
Mhm.
And I don't know if they do it this year, but this year's going to be quite the learning experience. And if they have a real nice collective offseason, next year's their year.
Okay. Okay.
Next year. And they need, like, the NBA needs teams like this. They need teams like what the Knicks are showing and
Mhm.
the Pacers youth and the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves won last night, by the way. They're up 1-0 in Denver. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, that's what I was just gonna get at. Anthony Edwards had the, I wish I remembered the exact stat, but I believe it was the first back-to-back 40 plus point game, uh, since, Kobe did it back when they were on their run with Shaq.
yeah. And it's not, I don't want to call what people do is cheating. Okay. I don't want to say, oh, some guys cheat. But when you're trying to draw fouls and you get to the line 18 times a game, I
Mhm.
know that's part of your points, but without the whistle, what would you be doing?
True.
He doesn't get a
Yep.
lot of whistles. It's just athletic.
Mhm.
He's fading away and hanging in the air just a little bit longer than you.
And you're talking about,
Anthony
Anthony
Edwards.
Edwards.
Yeah,
Yep.
he
Okay.
is. I'm telling you, you hit the ground and you're like, he's still up there.
Mhm.
And then and then the shot goes in. And it's one thing to be able to do it, but it's another whole thing when you believe you can do it. Because you could see it in his eyes. He's starting to look around like he's the baddest dog in the playground.
And it's right now with that matchup, you got the face of the NBA with Jokic right now. He's
Mhm.
pretty much the face of the franchise. But we all know how hard it is for the big man to stay the face of the franchise. It's all about scoring, scoring, scoring. That's why I believe Anthony Edwards will surpass him within the next 2 years as the face of the franchise.
Yeah, because you know what? I don't think Jokic's body is gonna hold up very much longer.
Hmm.
Running up and down the wood, running up and down. I mean, listen, wood on knees doesn't last forever.
Yeah, but he has a different build than a lot of NBA players. He's thick all around. Even his lower body is just ridiculous. JJ Redick has a podcast. He was on with LeBron James, and they were talking about what makes him so deadly. And they were saying his lower body is just ridiculous. He has such a change of pace of play. Just with his lower body, it's ridiculous. They said he has one of the best breaks in the NBA. And for people that don't realize what I'm talking about, because I didn't know until I listened to these guys really break it down. But
Mhm.
what makes a player so dangerous is how he can adjust how quick he's playing and how fast he can stop. Jokic is just able to stop literally on a dime as people go by, even one step. If you go by him, he has you. He has you. The little spin around with the little layup, you're done. As soon as he is able to get you out of position just by a hair, he has you.
Yeah, and he reminds me a lot of Arvydas Sabonis.
Yeah, you said that last time we talked about Jokic.
And
Is that
people have
yeah.
no idea. They never got to see prime Sabonis. But when Arvydas Sabonis, I mean, just watch his kid
Mhm,
who's smaller. Like Demontis Sabonis is a fantastic player, and he's smaller than Arvydas was. And
mhm,
he averages, I mean, what, 20 and 13, 20 and 14 for Sacramento.
mhm,
And just the way he's able to stop, move, use his body. He's got no muscle.
mhm.
Kind of like Jokic, no muscle.
No muscle, but he has size. That's the thing. You
Yeah,
know, he
and
he he just looks like your everyday person on the side of a basketball court that, that wants to play, just, your normal everyday guy. There's nothing special when you look at him except for how tall he is.
And that guy doesn't get picked unless he makes his free throw. Remember, you have to make your free throw to get picked on a team?
Yeah. But I always talk about the eye test, and Jokic just doesn't pass the eye test, but he wins.
Yeah. You know what he is able to do? He's able to manipulate moments in games. So when Denver needs him to run, he runs. But he almost acts like he's going to be running forever. And then as soon as you don't think he's gonna, you think he's gonna keep running up another, he just stops, and he'll just stand there and dribble, and you're gasping for air because he slowed you down, and now he's gonna run it to Murray. Now they're gonna get it. By the way, Gordon helps him a lot too because Gordon's super athletic.
Well, Gordon helped a lot of teams, not just him. Gordon helped a lot of teams, especially those teams. I forget who the heck was he with. He had some really good games against the Warriors, probably about 5-6 years ago.
Oh God, I don't know. I only knew he was with Denver.
Were he on? Was that maybe it was Denver he was on?
Yeah, look it up. But yeah, I think Gordon helps. He really helps Jokic with differing the speed, really. And that's where Jokic's real value is he knows when to pick it up and when to slow it down for the Nuggets. Obviously Murray and the other players help as well, but you know, Jokic basically picks the pace for that team. And that's really where he wins. You know, it's this guy's, Darvin Ham just got fired in Los Angeles. And I've got a suggestion real quick while we're talking about the NBA.
Okay.
I think and by the way, this has happened before. I think it was Bill Russell did it. I think LeBron James should coach the Lakers. What is the difference? He's got all the knowledge. He has all the information. You can be a player coach. Why can't LeBron coach the team? Why are we hiring coaches? We're just going to hire another coach that's going to be gone in 2 years anyway. You hire no-name guys that aren't going to be able to yell at him.
I have a hot take for you on the coaching hire for that team. JJ Redick.
JJ Redick.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now. Now. Watch it.
You think so?
There's chatter out there about it.
I've seen it.
LeBron respects him enough to listen. I think if LeBron listens and then everybody else follows, Chef Nick, JJ Redick, he agrees.
Yeah, but I think they'll listen to him for 5 minutes.
See, I don't believe that. I think Redick has the knowledge of the game where everybody would listen to him. I really do. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I wish I remembered the name of his podcast, but you have to listen to it. Listen to this guy talk about it. He knows the X's and O's, and he is so passionate still about the game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like Redick.
All right, Chef Nick has something right here. He's like the Tony Romo of basketball.
That's actually great. And that's kind of where I'm headed. He kind of talks to you like every other Duke player talks to you. That's my only
Duke problem. Has that nose up in the air when they speak to you.
Gonna be a problem, maybe.
I don't think so because one, he played, so the players respect that. Two, players love podcasts anymore. Every one of them has it. And they all listen to him. They've been guest stars on multiple podcasts with him on it, so they already know him. They know his basketball IQ. So I think that he would get a fair shake there. I really do.
These are all good points. I mean, maybe it is JJ. I'm kind of being a little facetious, saying, "Hey, LeBron, maybe if you think you could do it better, then go do it." Every head coach that he's had,
we all think that, but you can't say that.
No, that's what I just want to.
As an organization, you just can't say that. If you think you could do better, here's the team. Who was the last player coach in the NBA?
I think it was
it was the Celtics. I'm pretty sure.
I think it was Bill Russell.
Yeah.
I don't know I think it was Bill Russell. And God, I want to say interim. I don't know. But I think
Okay.
Magic Johnson did it interim for a little while. And the real issue that Magic had was he goes, I just couldn't understand why they couldn't make these passes and see these things. But I was talking from my perspective, and I think that's the problem that every great player has with coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Is I'm going, look, it's right there. But I could throw the ball 28 miles an hour off the dribble, expecting everyone else can. And, he goes, not everybody else can do that. I have to think about what they can do and then put the play out there. And it was just so tough for me to be able to capture for the team.
Okay. I'm trying to find out who the last player coach.
Shefnick says, Matt as a player, but breaks everything out perfectly and knows the game on both sides. Yeah, JJ Redick did the best he could with the talent he had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, worked hard on defense. I would say, maybe a little
David Cohen's
Dante DiVincenzo. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be a fair comparison for JJ Redick. Maybe Dante's.
Well, the thing was, JJ was he was a hell of a 3-point shot. He was a sharpshooter. So he even played for didn't he play for the redemption team too, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
But he played for Duke.
Yeah, and he has like I said, there's spots for him. I think his biggest issue that Dante doesn't have as much is Dante DiVincenzo is a little bit taller and can play better one-on-one defense, even though JJ tried. It worked really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was funny.
JJ was talking about that redemption team, and he was like, oh boy, I forget who it was. Maybe it was Paul George, maybe. No, Carmelo Anthony.
Okay.
Kobe was like, I want everybody out there, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, getting ready. I want you guys down at practice, blah, 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 blah. Everybody was like, oh, yeah. And then, he was like, yeah, no, that ain't going to happen. Not no 6 o'clock in the morning. So JJ was like, everybody, gets up 6 o'clock. They're going down for breakfast. And who's down there already at the table eating breakfast? Kobe Bryant. Down there eating breakfast, 6 o'clock in the morning, already has his knees iced up. He's already practiced for an hour and a half. Yeah. That's how crazy this guy was. And then he went out with the rest of the team afterwards to finish practicing.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I think
it was. That was Kobe Bryant. He was notorious for his work ethic.
Yes. Yeah, notorious like borderline psycho, they said.
And that's kind of, I just watched a story on Michael Jordan trying to come back at the age of 40. He had practiced from 4 a.m. till 6 a.m. in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Had one of his people call Jamal Crawford and let him know that Michael was ready for him. So Jamal was, all right, well, I'll meet you at the gym. So he met him at the gym, and he goes, Mike's just, he's different, but he's the same. He doesn't have quite the same athleticism, but you don't put your hands on him.
Yeah.
And don't think you're going to get position on him. And every single time that you thought you knew something, he just knew it more.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, it's tough to know that his 40th year and when he came back was cut a little bit short. He goes, because if he was fully healthy, I wonder.
Mm-hmm. There's also stories of great players like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, your greats of greats, how other people playing with them, and then they're calling the plays that the other team is calling. They're like, oh, yeah, they're running this, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, well, how the hell do you know that? That's just how much tape that they've watched.
Yeah, I mean, over time, if you love something and you spend enough time with something, you'll become good at it. You have to.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, like you didn't pay attention to what somebody else was doing or what somebody else, like Kobe Bryant, will straight up say, he's like, yeah, he goes, well, I'm a pretty good player because I stole everybody else's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's quite honest about it. You know, Michael Jordan did the same. He paid homage to. He's like, I watched a lot of Jerry West. You know, James Worthy goes taught me a ton. All these guys, he goes, so to say I'm the greatest. You know, I borrowed stuff from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But LeBron
and that's
James,
what the greats do, though. But that's what the greats do. They learn from other people, and then they expand on that.
So if you guys want to be great, go look at people that are doing fantastic right now and just copy them a little.
And you need to be a psycho. You need to be in the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. You need to be in the gym an hour and a half, 2 hours before anybody else is even up out of bed.
I don't want to preach psychotics. It does work, though.
I'm just simply stating that all these greats have something in common, and it's their work ethic was beyond a work ethic.
Yeah.
Their talent got you so far. Talent gets you so far, but it's your work ethic after that. Because everybody that makes it in pro sports, NBA, NFL, any one of those sports, any professional sport, hockey, golf, it's your work ethic that takes you to that next level.
Well, Anthony Edwards wasn't drafted by the Golden State Warriors because Steve Kerr didn't believe in his work ethic.
There you go.
And now Anthony Edwards said, that hurt his feelings a little bit, but because he put so much in now, he understands what Steve meant.
Mm-hmm. And is that the same year he came out that we drafted Wiseman?
Yeah. And Steve Kerr wanted to draft Edwards, but he just didn't believe the time that he was putting in the gym that he said he was.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where he was out.
And we needed a center at the time, and Wiseman seemed like the logical next good center. I mean, he was athletic, he was fast, he was able to shoot the ball. Even though the limited time we got to see him, who was that, for Kansas? I believe it was. We got to see him for like 2 games.
Yeah.
So, and then he got in some trouble with Gary Payton buying him in a suit or something, so he got suspended. Yeah, he ended up buying him a suit for what's that?
Regardless, you have Jonathan Kuminga anyway, and if he can, he wants to be the next Kobe Bryant, so does everybody else. But Steve Kerr said, to be quite honest, Kuminga could start fitting the mold of a Shawn Marion, and I'm quite happy with that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'd be ecstatic with that.
If you get Shawn Marion out of Jonathan Kuminga, you put another guy around him. And, first of all, the Warriors needed an early exit finally for once anyway, just to get healthy and just relax for a minute.
That, and we need to change our mindset. The big three isn't there anymore. Thompson has totally disappeared in the playoffs. Green is still doing green things. And Steph can't do it all by himself.
Yeah, they need a second scorer. But Draymond Green, if you look at his stats, actually had a good year. And his 3-point percentage, I believe, is 41%, one of his highest.
Because he stopped taking so many shots this year too.
But he's not a scorer. He's never been a scorer. He does 3 things really well. He's the emotional support player. He's the Dennis Rodman that is willing to shoot a little bit. That's what he is.
Absolutely.
And Klay Thompson is not the player he once was.
No, he's a shell of himself.
And you're not going to move him. Well, they have moved him to the bench.
Yeah.
And now you just got to find a guy that could start taking those kind of shots, to take those kind of moments, to give Steph Curry a little bit of a breather. So that way, when you're in transition between your 5th player and 7th player coming off the bench, that you're not losing all the plus minus moments.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they need.
Yeah. Yep. So, and I'm as much as I love Klay, I strongly believe we should do a sign and trade with him.
Yeah, but then who would you target? That's the whole problem. Who would you?
Who I'd like to bring back in the fold, and with them exiting the playoffs so early, and he spoke out against the team too, is Kevin Durant. I like to see him paired back up with Steph.
Yeah, that would be a really good move. Durant quickly found out. I think he wanted to find something out about himself, and maybe he didn't know, but let's be quite honest. He knows a lot of basketball. He likes playing the game, but he's not a killer. He never has been.
No.
And, he just wants to play. He doesn't want to have to do the post-game press conferences. He found that out in Brooklyn that he hated it. So he went to Phoenix trying to recapture what he had in Golden State. Oh, Booker's here, Beal's here. I don't have to do as much. And then he went, oh, Beal's just a shooter, and that's what Booker is too.
Yeah.
So we're not really running offense here. It's all one-on-one basketball.
Yeah, Steve, and that's not the way we played.
Steve,
I mean the Warriors.
Because if you watch the way Kevin Durant played for Phoenix this year, he was expecting cutting, moving, and the only other player that cut and moved and set screens like he did was Grayson Allen. Where did he learn basketball? Duke. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right, we got.
They seem like they were all about ISO plays this year.
Oh God,
one-on-ones, and that was it. Yeah,
I couldn't watch them.
Yeah, I mean, and do you blame that on the players or you blame that on the coach?
Both. I think in their case, both. I don't think Beal can play any other way. And when he's missing shots, he does nothing else.
Yeah.
I think having Grayson Allen run your point is a good move because he's also going to take on the best offensive player on the other team. That's his role. Good. Devin Booker shoots well, but doesn't move. He's an ISO guy. So you got two ISO guys, and Durant's not really an ISO guy. He can play that way.
He can be, but that's not the way he wants to play.
No, he prefers he prefers the Golden State way, actually. And it's not alive in Phoenix.
No. And Golden State, since Kerr took over anyways, you could even go back to when Jackson coached us. But we've always been about whoever has the best shot, they're going to take. You're going to pass the ball until you have that open shot. The only time you see somebody really taking a bad shot or a shot that's contested with them is when the shot clock is winding down. Or when what's his name was there? What the hell was his name? Poole was there, Jordan Poole. He took some horrible fucking shots. Excuse my language. Some really bad shots that as soon as he got paid. He tried pressing too much. He tried saying, all right, I've arrived, and he didn't arrive.
Well, I mean, everybody has when you have a year like that, it's hard to tamp the guy down, right? It's like
you need to play in the system. Remember the system that created you. Play in that system.
Yeah.
It goes back to my quarterback thing in the NFL. I want somebody that's going to play in my system. I don't want an ISO guy.
That's a great segue, by the way, for talking about new NFL signings.
Yes.
Talking about a guy that missed the system and the friends that he was with. We'll start with Zeke back with the boys.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think this is a desperation move by Dallas. That's what I think. They're hoping to capture anything right now out of him. I really thought I think they thought they were going to get one of the better backs in the draft. They didn't. Nobody wanted to go over there free agent wise. Free agent running backs was taken up fairly quickly. And I think it was a desperation move by Dallas.
Jerry thought he had Derrick Henry.
Oh, I totally agree. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, Derrick Henry was gone. I mean, he was in Dallas, right? Everybody was like, oh, he's going to be a Cowboy. And then, I think they may have offered him a little less. And he went, well, I mean, I am running the ball 240 times and you don't have Tony Pollard here anymore. So, I'm still going to get 240 carries and you're going to pay me less. All right. Well, I would like to be a Cowboy, but I would like to make a few more phone calls. And Baltimore went, we're going to make your job easy.
Yeah. Yep.
And he went,
yeah.
Oh, well, you're going to be in the playoffs. And I do like Baltimore. And he went to Baltimore. And Dallas was left, I think, like you said, holding a bag.
Yeah. Yep.
Zeke looked good last year, by the way.
He looked solid last year. Solid. A lot better than his previous year with the Cowboys. But I blame that on their offensive line. They just weren't healthy up front.
He looked lighter. He looked lighter. Like if you were to go, Jack, before the year starts, who's going to be the better running back in New England for the eye test? Because we love the eye test in fantasy, right? That matters. And I go, dude, Rhamondre Stevenson, it's not even close.
Oh, I know. You were pounding the table for him.
Huh? Pound the table.
You were pounding the table for him. Oh, every time I talk to you. Every time. Greg.
And I thought that Zeke,
top 3 running back in the league.
Yeah. And hit the tape from the year before was wow. I mean, it blew you away. And I thought that having Zeke there would help complement Stevenson. But I guess the truth is that Stevenson needs to be on the field. He's one of those guys. He's a volume guy. Even if he's catching it for 3-4 yards, he needs to be on the field. He's an on the field guy. And that might be true.
What did I tell you about their running back stable is that Belichick notoriously does not go with one running back. One running back could have 200 yards rushing. The next week he's starting somebody else. It's like, why?
Yeah, I get that, but I just kind of thought that Zeke was going to fill in for the certain role. And I think that Stevenson got banged up early, which helped lend more time to Zeke. And Zeke was kind of thin, kind of lost a little bit of weight. And this is my whole argument too. And I understand that's a desperation move by Dallas, but maybe he was missing. Maybe he was missing Dallas. And he went up to New England and he was cold for a little while. And now Jerry's like, hey, you had it good down here, pal. Come on back down here. I'll draft some more offensive linemen. Let's have one more dance.
I don't think Zeke ever wanted to leave. I think Dallas thought they had something in Tony Pollard, which I knew they didn't. He's a nice complimentary back, but that's it. They thought they had a bell cow there that could run the ball 20, 25 times, be explosive, still have those explosive, 30, 40-yard runs, a 60-yard touchdown here or there, but they didn't. They didn't have him. So I think they miss Zeke more than Zeke missed them.
I mean, that could be true. I mean, I feel like, they got to dinner together and they ordered the same meal that they used to, and they ordered the same. Hey, I'll take oh, you like that wine still? And they got to talk and they went, you know what? This divorce was crazy. I should just
and it was.
Bucks. It was.
It really was. So like I said, and it was crazy because the Cowboys wanted to give Pollard more carries. They wanted to make him the featured back. And with Zeke there, they knew that wasn't going to happen.
So we're 2 months away from, let's see, it's May now, June, July. Yes, we're 2 months away from active firefly season. When the little butts of the bugs at nighttime, kids run around catching. So my thing is Zeke now the firefly? Can you put him in the bottle and he's that guy once again? Is he 10 touchdowns, 1,100 yards? I think maybe one more time.
I think he could. I mean, one, they have a better line. They have a healthier line than they had 2 years ago with him. If I remember correctly, I believe they did draft 2 offensive linemen who are going to one of them is definitely going to be a starter this year. So, I mean, I think absolutely. Zeke has never been about, I'm the fastest guy on the field. He's always been about, he picks the right holes, he runs behind the right blocks, and it gets you those, 4 or 5 yards that you need. Every once in a while, he'll pop off a 12, 15-yard run.
100%. 100%. This is why you're a fantasy football champion. I just kind of think that, he's a little under the radar, but he goes, well, he's just there. And I go, you know what? I don't believe that he's just going there to hang out and drink sodas at the vending machine and, put the hand. I kind of feel like he wants one more try.
And let's face it, we all know that Dallas is a pass-happy team, so he's not going to be facing loaded boxes.
Not anymore. Not anymore. He was a loaded box guy in the beginning. But,
yeah, because they didn't have anybody really there. But now they have CeeDee Lamb, Braden Cooks. I forget who else they have. I'm trying to look.
You can literally get 14 touchdowns and 800 yards for Zeke, and that would be quite a year.
Oh, absolutely.
That would be quite a year. And by the way, I'm not, I'm not just making up these numbers. That can happen, and you're like, oh well, didn't see that one coming.
No, but absolutely. I could see
now
him.
Another guy.
I don't think he's 1,000-yard back anymore, though. I really don't. But I think that 800 yards, 8 touchdowns, 8, 10 touchdowns, very solid. That would be a great, great year for him. You're right.
And let's say, I don't know, something wild, 116 yards receiving and a touchdown there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's nothing. I mean, he's never been known as a great receiving back, but he can get your job done.
Yeah. I mean, he can get you 40 catches. And with 40 catches, you're going to find yards. I mean, it's not, all you have to do is not let the thing hit the ground and you're going to find 5-6 yards. And I think by the way, he helps out your tight end in Dallas, who I think is pretty good too, Jake Ferguson.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. He's another young guy too, an up and comer.
Barry Alvarez's nephew, I believe, out of Wisconsin, the famous Wisconsin coach. Now, a guy that will be just kind of hanging out by the vending machine and picking up, I guess, some slack every once in a while. He signed a nice contract, but he's too banged up and too injured, and he's a Ferrari when he's on the field. But Odell Beckham Jr. signs with Miami. Do you like it or don't you?
I like it. I like it a lot. You're pairing him with Jalen Waddle and Hill. I think that is a nice pickup for them. Nice third option. And I think he won't be asked to do as much as he was asked to do in Baltimore, which he did absolutely hardly anything in Baltimore. But he's going to be the third wide receiver. You put him in the slot, it's hard to believe he's not going to get you 50 catches this year. That's what I'm looking for from him. 50 to 60 catches, 5 touchdowns.
Oh, now 50 to 60 catches with his speed could find him 700 yards.
But does he still have the speed he once had? We didn't see that in Baltimore anymore.
What I watched when he played, because he wasn't healthy when he signed there. Then he got banged up along the way. And then
this will be his second year coming back from his ACL injury, or third year?
It'll be his third year.
Okay.
Yeah, because he sat out the whole year.
Yes.
That whole next year he sat out. Then he signed with Baltimore. So it'll be his third year coming back from it. What's interesting to me about him is that he spent a lot of time watching the ball go 4 or 5 yards over his head. I love Lamar Jackson, but to call him a pure quarterback is a lie.
He's not.
It's just not true. He delivers a nice ball sometimes, but to count on it down the field. And by the way, Lamar Jackson has never owned the sideline where Odell Beckham has to run for balls. He tries his best, but he throws a lot over his head. I saw a lot of frustration at times, but he kind of just went to the sideline, would kind of just grab his hamstring so he would shut up. It wasn't his hamstring. It was the guy overthrew him by 5 yards, and he's like, pal, I'm not going another 50 yards out for you to throw another 5 yards over my head again. Not doing it. So you better give me an opportunity to catch the ball, which I believe Tua will do.
Tua's a very accurate quarterback. So
that's the thing. He's very accurate. He's very accurate. I think he's going to really give Odell chances. If you give him chances, he could be dangerous. I mean, and I'm not saying that Tyreek Hill's not going to be his favorite target or that Waddle's not going to play a big part and all these other players and pieces that he has around him. But, I do believe that he had an opportunity last year for 60 catches.
Like he had, just to let everybody know, last year his stats was 35 receptions for 565 yards. He had a nice average now for 16.1, and then 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and you know what? So like on 35 catches, he gave. So let's say he has 70 catches. I'll give you a grand in that Miami offense. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
here we go.
You'll see them in the AFC Championship game.
If everybody's still healthy because of him. Rams 2.0.
Wow, that's quite a statement. Rams 2.0. I like it. I like bold statements. I like hot takes because without them, we don't have any fun, right? And by the way, they're fun because sometimes they come true.
I
like that.
The Dolphins were very good last year. This first half of the season, they looked like they were unstoppable. My problem is, where does that speed go when cold weather comes in? When you have to play in the snow, when you have to play in Green Bay, when you have to play in, Buffalo.
I
You know,
think
if you can have if you can have your home games down in Miami, I'm with you 100%. I'm with you. You know, but you take that speed up to somewhere, you know, like Buffalo. I don't know how much that's going to help you.
You know, I think that it wasn't so much of a problem with the snow. They did okay in the snow, but there were people that went to that Kansas City Chiefs Dolphins game that was like what -37 with
Yeah,
wind
it was.
chill or
You know,
whatever.
yeah, it was crazy.
There were people that went to that game that had to go to the doctors the next day because they were injured because they couldn't feel their index fingers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's from
There's
sitting.
not players, but fans who actually got frostbite in that game.
Yeah, so you know,
And I'm
Miami
not talking just that game. I'm not talking just that game. I'm talking just your general knowledge of football. Anytime you see those finesse teams, those speed teams, they're great in warm weather. But once the December, January comes around, they seem to slip away because cold weather affects you.
Yeah, it does separate. It does separate things for sure. But Miami could be. Miami's a fun team. They really are. They haven't been a
Oh,
fun team
very
forever.
listen, I'm a Bama fan, so I love the Jalen Waddle and Tua thing. So I absolutely love it. They
Good.
actually might
I
be
put
my
first now.
AFC team. What was that?
I said, good. Draft them first.
No, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I do like this. And for all you fantasy guys out there, here's what I say: don't worry about Tyreek Hill. He'll be fine. He'll still do what he
Mhm.
always does. Jalen Waddle will still be fine. He'll get banged up like he always does. And when he
Yep.
does, that's probably a sign to move Odell into that spot. And think about it this way: Tua got another weapon. That's got to make him better.
Yeah.
But so if you're sitting there going evaluating quarterbacks and what kind of weapons they get, if you think Odell holds any value, it definitely moves Tua up as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he too was a solid quarterback last year. All those people that took Carr, like myself, we were moving off on those guys very early and going for somebody like Tua that was on the waiver wire.
That's a great point. Carr came with a lot of excitement, and
A
Tua,
lot of excitement going there.
Tua was kind of, he was a wet paper bag coming off that concussion. You didn't know if he was going to be able to sustain a season or hold the groceries. Right, Nick
Okay.
Ward. I'd like to see T. Higgins in Miami. Whoa, I mean,
could you
I'd
imagine
like to see
somebody
T.
like
Higgins
him,
in
like a
Jacksonville.
position?
Give me T.
Really,
Higgins.
Jacksonville?
Give me T. Higgins and his college quarterback together.
Oh,
Oh, what marriage!
You're always about those old college combos. You love them.
They're fun.
Listen, they definitely are fun.
Oh,
I
it's
don't know
okay
if they
when you got it in
transition.
Alabama. It's okay when we got Tua and we got Waddle together.
I said I like it. I do like it.
I know I like other sidekicks.
It's Clemson. Come on.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We can't. I'll put Drake May with somebody. I'll put all these guys with somebody.
I'm sure you will. By the end of the season, you'll have everybody paired up.
I'll make Justin Jefferson go back to Michigan and get like some kind of associate's degree just so he could say he's with JJ McCarthy. I'll do it.
Either one of them have another year of eligibility.
I'll figure it out. I'll make some phone calls. Harbaugh's not there anymore, and Michigan's got sanctions, so they could use a face to sign autographs with Justin Jefferson.
How about Jim Harbaugh? His quote after the draft, they're like, "Well, why didn't you draft any offensive weapons in the first round for your quarterback?" He's like, "What do you talk about? I drafted an offensive weapon. Our tackles are weapon." So. Talk about those little crazy people, you gotta love Harbaugh. Harbaugh considers offensive linemen a offensive weapon. So
yeah, because
he's not wrong. He's definitely not wrong.
No, because here's how he looks at things, right? So he'd be sitting there and he'd go, you'd be like, hey, we needed guns for the war that we're in. Why did you order a ton of brooms? And he goes, guys sweeping floors and you have clean floors. Then if you have a clean floor, then you can get some more work done in the room. And in the room is where the battle is won. It's not one out there with the guns. You're like, hey, Jim, you need a gun, not a broom. And he goes, "Well, you'll see. We'll do a lot of sweeping out there on the battlefield."
And he does.
I
He
know.
does. It works for him. He did it with
I
the
know.
Niners.
He
He
needs
did
to
it with
form.
San Diego State. He did it with Michigan. Like, he knows. I mean, you have to remember, this guy was a quarterback that got the living hell beat out of him. So, of course, he thinks of very highly of those offensive linemen.
No, he did the right thing. He took the right player, and
Oh,
he's
absolutely.
he's gonna move people where he wants to and build that team. That team's not done, by the way. They need work.
No, there's rumors of Tyler Boyd going there now.
Yeah, Tyler Boyd
Which would be that's a nice pickup for anybody. Anybody that can sign Tyler Boyd at this point, this late in free agency, that's huge.
I just want to tell you
rumors
one
with
thing.
the Chargers. There was rumors with the Vikings of him signing there, so we'll see.
Don't draft Justin Herbert as your fantasy quarterback.
Ooh, okay. Hot take.
Because
Hot take.
It's a hot take, but I will tell you that you can have a week where he throws for 260 yards and no touchdowns because they ran the ball in and all he cares about is winning the game. I get that. But think about that when you're Herbert's, he's not there. You know, he's a lot like Bill Belichick. He's there to win the game. And I don't believe that he cares about how he wins the game. So all these Justin Herbert, but he think about that before you draft him early in the third round.
Think about all the teams Harbaugh has coached, and their quarterbacks never throw for a large chunk of yardage.
And if you were to get Jack, gun to your head right now, who would you rather draft? Justin Herbert in fantasy football or Brock Purdy? I'm telling you right now, I'll take Brock Purdy.
It's hard not to. I mean, considering what Brock did last year, the numbers he put up.
But the conception on the street is that Herbert's got Harbaugh now. It's like settle that
settle it down. Yeah. Harbaugh's an old school coach. He'd rather run it down your throat and be as physical as possible than to throw the ball all over the field.
Yeah, I think it's a
Nick word. Purdy solely because of weapons. Absolutely, I totally agree with you. Absolutely,
because the other guy cares about brooms and Shanahan wants guns.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it proved with their first pick this year, instead of go offensive lineman like they should have, we take Pearsall.
That's okay.
I'm fine. Listen, I was a little hurt in the beginning, a little butthurt with it. But because we really do, we need another tackle. Trent Williams is, I think, 36, 37 years old. McKivitz is not a good right tackle, who we just gave an extension to and paid him a little bit of money. I think we should have definitely wanted offensive tackle. But this was a move for now and for next year. For now, it is because it gives us a good slot receiver, even though he's a rookie. Good slot receiver, and I believe we move off of Debo next year because we're going to be signing Ayuk to a big contract.
What you could do is you could re-sign Debo, or make Debo eat more, and then change his designation to tackle and sign him for less. And guess what? Sometimes he'll be eligible to catch the ball.
Ooh. Yeah, okay. Okay. What do we got here, Nick? Nick's laughing out loud. All right.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, that's all I have. That's all I have with our news.
Yeah. It was another good cast. This one was extremely shorter than the last one. The last one was over 2 hours, which was our longest one yet. So everybody that did sit through it, we greatly appreciate it. Every week we're getting more and more views, which is great. Again, you guys could find us over on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. So all three designations. Let's see. Nick has another comment here. What is the Viking starter come week 10?
Okay, so
you mean quarterback? I'm guessing quarterback. Yeah,
I think he's saying quarterback. And
yep, he is.
So every time you go watch the Sam Darnolds, right? Every time people think that his career in Carolina was bad. You know, Sam Darnold started out, I believe it was 3-0. And he was putting up numbers, and this was his chance, and not the Jets, and all this other stuff. When they get tape on him, though, he's burned. He doesn't know how to change what he's doing. He does get a bit frazzled, and he can't get the players to do certain things around. I just can't explain it. And all the things that he's not going to be able to do, JJ McCarthy will be able to do, and I think he's going to learn very quickly. I think by week 10, it's probably JJ McCarthy, and I believe that the Vikings probably find themselves in a wild card position.
I believe by week 6, we're going to have JJ McCarthy as their starter.
I think you're right.
I think with Addison and Jefferson, I think those are two big targets for him. Their tight end Hutchinson, ridiculous. Like they have 3 great offensive weapons, and who's their running back now?
Aaron Jones. They signed Aaron
Jones. Aaron Jones. I mean, if he's healthy, that's a 1,000-yard rusher right there.
Yeah, Sam Darnold will probably be done by week 6. That's what I think.
And JJ has enough experience. He has the completion percentage, and which was 72.3 in college, and he's played in a pro-style offense his whole college career. He's ready.
He is ready.
He just the only thing, and every player will tell you, they need to get acclimated to the speed of the game. The NFL speed is just totally different. Totally different.
Yeah, it's guys coming for your head wanting to kill you for paychecks. That's what it turns into. It's not, for the love of the game. It's I want a bigger house, and I want to take yours.
There you go. There you go.
We're always going back to the houses. I got a barn behind me. That's what it is, right? It's all about farms.
It's all about the foundation that's built upon. As Harbaugh believes, it's the foundation. You get those offensive linemen, you get those trenches built, everything else will follow. I mean, he won with Kaepernick. Come on. He went to a Super Bowl with Kaepernick. A guy that couldn't throw the ball very well. Hell of a leg. He could run. Don't get me wrong. But come on. Do
you know Colin Kaepernick? The one thing that drives me crazy about Colin Kaepernick is, he wasn't even that good. It's like, okay, hold on. Hold the phone here. Colin Kaepernick was drafted very, very early. I can't quote the round right now, but very, very early in the Major League Baseball draft.
Yeah, he threw a 94, 96 mile an hour. It was that fastball.
Yeah, it was 99.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Right. And people are like, he wasn't even good. He wasn't even good. He could have woke up in the morning and been a reliever in baseball. Whether he's a starter or a closer only depends on how many different pitches he has and how he can mix them. He has 99 in the bag, right? So I think that, I understand that his stances didn't make people comfortable.
Yeah, we're not talking about stances, and we're not talking about
to deny the athletic talent.
He had the athletic talent. He just didn't have touch on the ball.
That's true. Yeah.
When you're throwing a flat and you're throwing the ball not 99 miles an hour, but 90 miles an hour, that's still an issue.
It's a problem.
You know what I mean? Like, guys, it's bouncing off their hands. He's throwing it so hard.
Yeah, he had 20 yards on to Vernon Davis on a 7 route, but he didn't have 5 yards to a running back. It still went 10 yards over his head, and you're like, all right, we found a problem here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, I have a hat signed by Kaepernick. I have 2 jerseys. I have a red and a white one. I was a huge Kaepernick fan. Even through all the BS that he was going through, I still stuck by my quarterback. That's my quarterback, man. It's my quarterback.
I like his hair.
You got to love his hair. He goes, he's the only guy that has a white guy's nose, but a black guy's hair.
No, I didn't say that.
Listen, I said it. It's true. Did you see the size of his nose? He has the nose of an Italian guy.
Oh, my God.
And then hair of an African American. What can I say?
Oh my God.
True stuff. True stuff.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. All right, that's all I got for this week.
That's it too. That's all I got. Kind of slow week in sports, though. Kind of slow week besides NBA playoffs. Derby happening yesterday. NFL news, though, tapering down.
That's okay. We'll have stories headed your way this upcoming week, guys. Obviously, we'll catch up with you on Sunday. We'll talk sports with you guys again because it means a lot to us. Keep you guys up to date with all the happenings in the sports world. I am Jack Neary. That is.
I'm Old Gamer GK. Remember, guys, check us out over on Old Gamer GK over on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. You can catch Jack over on Fantasy Farms over on Facebook and also YouTube, correct?
Yeah, I've got fantasy. It's a Fantasy Farm Sports. I got a .com. We got a website, guys. So if you want to come over and if you ever want to do anything with it, you ever want to write content, you want to create content, fantasyfarmsports.com, and I'll set you up with a WordPress if you ever want to write sports or just do videos. I do have a Facebook, also on TikTok and Twitter. So come check us out.
And we also, Jack does a lot of fantasy leagues also. So he's always posting stuff, wanting the people to join his fantasy leagues. We have a fantasy sleeper team. We are really looking for some solid players that will be there every year with us.
Yeah.
So make sure you check us out. And again, guys, greatly appreciate everybody showing up. Remember, if you guys do like our content, hit that like button, hit that follow or sub button. It goes a long ways.
It's right there.
All right. Have a great night, guys.